Hey, how's it going, everyone? So I added a new feature to the vulnerability pipeline dashboard called the false positive exception engine. If you guys haven't seen the video for the vulnerability pipeline dashboard, make sure to check it out. So this new engine, it sits on top of this pipeline dashboard, and its job is really simple. It helps decide what actually needs attention, what needs review, and what can safely be ignored or handled as an exception. So the reason I built this is because most environments in most vulnerability scanners generate a lot of findings. So some are real issues and some are configuration checks. Some need more context, and honestly, a lot of it ends up being just noise. So instead of making a human go through thousands and thousands of rows manually, this engine acts like a decision layer that helps sort everything out in a consistent and audible way. So early in the pipeline, in the first pipeline dashboard, the scanner will get data, and then the data will get cleaned up and normalized. So this engine actually just picks up that exactly same normalized data, and then uses it to evaluate every finding. And then from there, the results show up here in the dashboard. So we go to this is the regular dashboard from before, and then now to go to the new one, the new engine. This is the false positive exception engine, and then here is the where the new engine sits. So this is the false exception engine dashboard, and everything here is just read only. It's mainly for visibility, review, and exporting data. So let's start with the summary tab. So this is really the big picture view. From here, you can quickly see how many vulnerabilities were processed, how many were flagged as likely false positives, and how many risk exceptions were created, and also how many items still need human review, somebody to just check them. There's also some evidence here, info here. For this demo, the data is simulated, meaning that the engine is ready. It's ready to pull endpoint data, like for example, like from Microsoft Defender for Endpoint, which actually will be adding in the near future. But for right now, it's just using sample data. This is more of a high level view, especially useful for like managers or anybody that's like not an analyst, or even if actually for analysts as well. And you can also download the PDF version in here. Just wanted to share it. And then next we move to the review queue. So this is probably the most important one. So because this shows findings that still need human decision. These aren't automatically closed. They're the ones that where the engine is basically saying this might be real, but someone should just take a look at it. So let me walk you through the columns and to explain this briefly. So Q type, it tells what kind of attention it needs, like critical review, evidence review, or escalation. The asset ID is just a system or machine that the issue was found on. The finding ID represents a specific vulnerability on a specific system. And then the severity is how serious the scanner thinks it could be. The priority bucket is how urgent it is. It's in practice, so like a P0, P1. We're using the same system as the original dashboard. And then moving along, the rule is the rule name explains why the finding ended up here in this dashboard. So, for example, it might say that that more system context is needed before deciding if it's a real risk. And then the status shows whether the items is in the process, things like open or pending review or supported in this case for those. And then the action is just a recommended action as basically what the engine suggests that you should be doing next, like reviewing it, patching it, or escalating it. So this tab is really meant for analysts, so you can scan through it, filter it, and export it as a CSV for reports. And then the next tab we have is the tickets tab, and this tab is a bit of a downstream. So these are the findings that are ready to be tracked, assigned, or handed off. So think of this as the bridge between vulnerability management and a ticketing system. So instead of like having raw findings, this view focuses on what someone actually needs to work on. So the columns here are more about operations, things like who owns it, when it's due, how risky it is, and why the ticket exists in the first place. So just like the review queue, you can export this as well. So it's easy to plug in into whatever workflow or tracking system that the team is already using. So a few important things I want to call out about the engine. So first, this engine doesn't blindly close vulnerabilities. Everything is done. Everything it does is traceable and reviewable. So you always know why a decision was made. And then second, it's consistent. So the same rules are applied every time, which removes a lot of the subjectivity and the guesswork from the process. Third, also, it's designed to plug in to be plugged in into real tools. Right now, the evidence is using this is the evidence source is using simulated for the demo, but this is built to connect to endpoint data, asset inventories, or any other security platforms. And probably the biggest thing is that with this engine is it saves a lot of time. So instead of starting with thousands of raw findings, teams start with a prioritized already decision ready list, and they just have to go through that, that condensed list. So yeah, so this was a quick walkthrough of the false positive exception engine and how it fits into the pipeline. It's all it's about turning noise and scanner data into something teams can actually work with. That was the whole purpose of creating this. I'll be adding more features to this pipeline down the line, more engines to it. So I just wanted to walk you through this one I just created. Yeah, and let me know what you guys think. Thanks for watching.